Email list segmentation is crucial because it lets you send the right information to the right people at the right times. And how we're going to do it today is by splitting up our email list into the different types of customers that we can send emails to in order to get those better open rates, better clicks, and more sales. My name is Andrew, and let's dive right in. Now, when we're sending emails from HighLevel, especially at scale, we want to first make sure that we have a couple of crucial workflows set up just to go across all of our email campaigns in general. We have these 4 email workflows right here: bounced, opened, clicked, and do not disturb. And all these are doing are tagging our customers accordingly. The only thing that's happening for these workflows is we are creating a trigger using the email events trigger and then adding our filter for bounced, clicked, opened. And then you can mix some of these as well, like unsubscribed and complained, to use one workflow to just mark those as unsubscribed or spam. And then depending on the filter, for example, this one is bounced, we are just adding a tag for bounced. This is a crucial first step because this will let us further segment our lists in the end. But this for now is going to be a great way to get started. We just have our 4 workflows, one for bounced. We have another one for opened. This is going to be really helpful later, and I'll let you know why, but we're just adding our opened tag for this workflow. Our third workflow is clicked. We're adding a clicked tag whenever the email event is clicked. And then for the last one, it is do not disturb, which is, like I said, it's those complained ones or those unsubscribes. We can then use an optional remove from workflow to remove them from any other workflow that they're in to make sure we're not still sending them emails if they happen to be in another workflow that we don't know about. And then we're adding our last tag for do not disturb. This is level 1 segmentation. This is just the pure basics about what you should have set up within your HighLevel. And you can apply this concept to even more workflows. So we're going to make a 5th workflow, and I'll show you what we'll do with this one. Something else you should have set up, which you probably do already, but if you don't, this is really important, is setting up a payment received trigger. Now, the reason we're doing this is because we want to make sure that we have our customer segmented. And you can either use payment received or you can use the customer tag. Anything like that will work. So we'll use just a customer tag here, and we'll click Save Action. This is important because there are some emails that you want to send to cold leads or warm leads, but not paying customers. You want to have these tags set up already as soon as possible, so that way all of your customers are tagged appropriately. Now we'll save and publish this workflow, so that way all of our customers are being tracked. And then depending on your use case, you can make more workflows just like that. I would just highly advise to use your tags in order to organize your contacts within your HighLevel. Now let's talk about how this can impact our open rates and our click-through rates and our amount of sales that we can get from our emails. Now, the reason this is important is because we have essentially created 5 different types of contacts within our CRM. Think about it. We have bounced, which are leads that are not useful. They don't have a good email, and we can use this within the workflow to just delete those emails, delete those contacts to keep things clean. That's the first one. Those are emails that are not good, bad contacts. Then on the next level up, we have do not disturb. So ones that have unsubscribed, complained, or marked your emails as spam. This is useful to know which customers we probably shouldn't be reaching out to. That's level 2. Now let's talk about the actual useful customers we have: opened, clicked, and actual customers. These are our 3 segments that we're going to use for moving forward with our email campaigns inside of HighLevel. But here's what most people miss. This also gives us a 4th group of people that haven't opened, haven't clicked, and aren't customers. These are people that are more of cold leads. They have good emails, and we've been sending them emails for a while now, but they haven't opened, clicked, or become a customer yet. So this is really useful because we can now segment these lists and market to them accordingly in our HighLevel. Now let's say we've got these 5 example contacts inside of HighLevel. And if we go over to the right, we can see inside of our tags that we have a couple of different ones that have those tags from our email campaigns. We have 2 that have opened, 1 that has clicked, and a couple that have some follow-up and high priority tags and things like that. Now that we have these tags implemented, we want to build our future email campaigns around this. Now, whatever email campaigns you're doing, whether they're warm campaigns, cold campaigns, ones to nurture customers, ones to reach out to old ones, anything like that, will depend on how exactly you can apply these principles. But I'm going to be talking to you about the actual principles of how we're sending out emails depending on these segmented lists. For example, Taylor Reynolds, this contact here is the only one in our list that has clicked on an email. We also have a phone number for this contact, which means what should we do? We should probably call him. So we can set up a workflow in order to, let's say, add a task or send an internal notification whenever someone clicks. And if they have a phone number, we can set up an automatic action to call or text them. This gives us the ability to stay in contact with these customers and stay on top of the ones that are engaging in the background, doing things that we don't even know about. Oftentimes, most business owners overlook what's happening in the background, and we just think about texting back and forth, emailing back and forth, and whenever we get responses, booked appointments from our customers, then dealing with them then. But what about when they're doing these things in the background, like clicking emails, opening emails, etc.? So this is an example of when we should follow up with this lead because they are a very, very hot lead. Then we have ones that have opened. These are ones that are good to keep in our most engaging campaigns. We can give them offers inside of our emails to get them to buy. This is how we can get more sales because we know these people have opened up our emails. This is what I call level 2 segmentation. This is when you have your tags, they're being applied to customers, you have the workflows active, and you are using them actively within your email campaigns. Now let's talk about level 3. How can we take this to the last level, which is going to help us, especially when we're doing this at scale with big numbers of emails? This is when we come into timeframes. So as you can tell, we're getting a little bit more specific with each one of these. And now we're going to be talking about when we are sending these emails. And what I'm going to show you is our advanced filter within our contact screen. If we look up email events, we have a few more that we can use here in order to really get the best data in order to market to our customers effectively. Of course, we already have those tags for whenever they've opened or clicked on an email, but we can use our last email clicked date and our last email open date to narrow this down even further. Remember, we essentially have those 4 different groups of people. We have our customers, we have our people who have clicked, which are most engaged leads, we have our people who have opened, which are our second most engaged leads, and then we have people that haven't opened any of our emails yet. So in order to refine this even more, we will use these opened and clicked date filters in order to get better information. So for example, if we do last email opened is within the past 30 days, and we can do less than 30 days, then now this essentially puts together a filter on this contact list of the contacts that are the most engaged and most engaged recently. What if you have a contact that opened an email 6 months ago and they still have that tag? Well, this is where this allows us to segment even further from those tags that we were using earlier. So by looking for contacts that their last email open date is less than 30 days, we know these are people that are hyper engaged. So at any point in our marketing, we can go into our CRM, apply this filter, find these customers, and then market to them accordingly. We can even add tags and do all sorts of stuff from there. But if you're running just one-time email campaigns, this is a great metric to go off of. And if you have even bigger email lists and you want to use, let's say, instead of last email opened, we can use last email clicked date is less than 30 days. These are people that are hyper engaged. And in order to make this even better, what we'll do is once we have this last email clicked is less than 30 days, we'll add one more filter for those tags. We're going to use tag is not customer. This is super important because now we have a list of the people that are super engaged because they've clicked our emails and they're not customers. So we know they're about to be customers. These are the people that we want to hit up first. These are all kind of high-level topics, but these are practical ways that you can apply this in your CRM today, using these filters, using the tags, and using automations in order to automatically segment your lists. And by doing this along with smart lists and along with more automations and coupling this with your email campaigns, you can achieve higher open rates, higher click-through rates, and more sales from your email efforts inside of HighLevel. If you have any questions about applying these email list segmentation practices to your HighLevel account, just check out the rest of the blog or leave a comment below. As always, my name is Andrew. Thank you very much for watching.